NASCAR teams aren't just fighting each other anymore, they're fighting the economy. And right now, rising fuel prices are quietly hitting race teams so hard, it could start changing who actually survives this season. Here's what's going on. Diesel fuel prices recently spiked to around 5.49 per gallon nationwide. That alone is a major problem, but for NASCAR teams constantly hauling equipment across the country, it's a serious financial hit. Kaulig Racing just revealed that fuel costs have already blown past what they planned before the season even started. They've had to adjust travel schedules, delay shipments, and even monitor where they refuel just to save money. And this isn't just one team complaining. This is a glimpse into a much bigger issue across the garage. To understand this, you have to understand how NASCAR teams operate behind the scenes. Every race weekend isn't just cars on a track, it's fleets of haulers moving thousands of pounds of equipment from state to state. Fuel isn't optional, it's the backbone of the entire operation. Now layer in the bigger picture. Global tensions, especially recent conflict involving Iran, have driven fuel prices up fast. Even with a slight dip recently, teams already felt the damage over the past month. And for Kaulig Racing, the timing couldn't be worse. They just expanded into the Truck Series as a manufacturer-backed program with Ram. That means higher startup costs, less existing inventory, and no deep data history to lean on. So while established teams can absorb the hit, newer expanding teams, they feel every dollar inside the organization. It's already changing behavior. They're delaying trips, combining shipments, tracking fuel, stops like it's part of race strategy. That's not normal. That's survival mode. This is where the story really shifts from business to competition, because when teams start cutting costs, performance can take a hit. Let's break it down. Fuel costs don't just affect transportation, they ripple through everything. Fewer test runs, limited parts movement, less flexibility in scheduling. If a team hesitates to move equipment quickly or delays preparation just to save money, that can cost them track time, and track time is everything. Now, think about smaller teams versus powerhouse organizations. Top-tier teams have deeper pockets. They can absorb rising costs without drastically changing operations. Mid-tier teams like Kaulig, they have to be smarter. And sometimes smarter means sacrificing something. That's the risk. Because NASCAR is a sport where margins are razor thin. If one team is optimizing logistics just to stay afloat, while another is fully focused on performance, that gap can widen fast. There's also a strategic angle here. Kaulig mentioned they're planning routes, tracking fuel prices daily, and even deciding whether to fill tanks fully depending on market trends. That's not racing strategy, that's corporate level resource management bleeding into competition. And here's the bigger concern. If fuel prices stay high long term, this could impact how often teams bring backup cars, how aggressively they test new setups, even how they approach multi-race stretches. At that point, it's no longer just a financial story, it becomes a competitive imbalance. And NASCAR doesn't want that. Because when external factors start influencing performance, it challenges the integrity of the sport. Fans are starting to wake up to this reality. Some are surprised because from the outside, NASCAR looks like a big money sport where teams should be able to handle costs like this. But insiders and analysts see it differently. They know the margins. They know that not every team is operating with unlimited resources. And the reaction right now is mixed. Some believe this is just part of racing, you adapt or fall behind. Others see it as a warning sign, especially for smaller teams trying to compete at a high level. Because if costs keep rising, the gap between the top and the middle could grow even wider. Fuel prices stabilize quickly. Teams adjust, budgets rebalance, and the impact stays temporary. Kaulig and others recover without sacrificing performance long term. Prices remain volatile. Teams continue cutting costs, preparation suffers, and over time we see fewer teams truly capable of competing at the front. That's when this becomes more than a budget issue. It becomes a competition issue. So here's the real question. Should outside factors like fuel prices be able to influence who wins and loses in NASCAR? Or is this just part of the grind that separates the strongest teams from the rest? Drop your thoughts below because this conversation is just getting started. And if you want real insight into what's happening beyond the track, stay locked in with SPORTSWIRE USA.